Good morning, all of you. So, as I said in last class, we did a very important topic that is on asymptotic notation. So, hope all of you have understood. Basically, there are a major asymptotic notation. In fact, as per the syllabus, it is being given only with respect to the three major asymptotic notations. Hence, we have covered only in that much. So maybe that much is enough in my opinion as per the syllabus that is being defined. So the asymptotic notation for big O, omega and theta. We'll see theta and we'll go to the next concept. And before I start the class, tomorrow onwards, maybe I'll start with the programming, because the programs which have not been covered in the module 1 and module 2, that will start. I'll review you through the syllabus definitely right now, so that what we have covered and what we have not covered, and what are the things that we are going to keep for internals, because we have only a few days left before internals prior to it. So theory somehow you can cover it from the module notes that we have forwarded. Practically, in the sense, programming wise you need to learn. So what I'll do is, from tomorrow, so maybe I'll get 3 to 4 sessions by the end of internal. So I'll try to focus on the programming, that is of both C recap 1, C recap 2, along with the module 2, which are all really important for exam point of view, so that at least you should be capable of writing it to an extent. Okay, so this is what we have covered in the last class, that is big O notation. Then we have covered omega notation, and we have to go to the theta notation. So once again, if I show you, so this is the model 2, so asymptotic notations, introduction to data structure. This we have to cover it today. The types of data structures I have covered it: primitive, non-primitive, what is the difference between primitive and non-primitive. Arrays, we just started a single dimensional. In that we have seen what is insertion and deletion. Okay, we have seen insertion and deletion. So now what we do is, okay, this is what the things that we have covered. See, so introduction to data structures, characteristics, we have covered it. So types of data structures we are going to see today. What are the types of data structures? Asymptotic notations, theta notation being left out. So algorithm characteristic has been covered. Okay. Then coming to the module, this one. So in the case of arrays, we have to cover two-dimensional array. A lot of many things are there. So maybe I'll not keep a two-dimensional array for IA. So I need the clear discussion from your point of view whether to keep it or not. So I'll just message in the group. You need to reply whether two-dimensional should be kept it or not. Okay. So insertion deletion, I did in one of the session, though I'll repeat it. So in this one we have types. So insertion deletion we have covered. Sorting, searching, will keep it. It is easy, quite easy. From here maybe will not keep it for IA. So this is my opinion, because maybe as it is a first internal, you might find it difficult. So that is a representation to type two-dimensional. So all these things maybe will keep for an assignment or a second IA as such. Okay. So now let me go to the asymptotic notations. What are asymptotic notations? We have seen asymptotic notation and we solved the problem. So we have upper bound, lower bound, and the in between. So big O is a upper bound, and always in upper bound, O of G of n is, that is C of G of n is greater, where C is a constant. Similarly, we have seen lower bound functions. So what is lower bound functions? So this problem is very important. All of you have to analyze it. As I stressfully said, this question definitely I'll give in the internals with the equations, right? Next, omega notation. What is omega notation? It is represented like this. It is a lower bound. So here f of n is always greater than c of gn. So in the graph you have to show f of gn is greater than c of gn, where it intersects. So f of n equals to this is omega of g of n. Okay. Similarly, here c of g1 is greater than f of n, where it intersects. We have f of n equals to big of g of n. Similarly, we left with the theta notation. The theta notation is a method that is used to express the running time of an algorithm that is in between lower bound and upper bound. So you have to represent one of the notations. So that notation is called, in between lower bound and upper bound, we have one of the location. That location is called theta notation. So theta notation, the symbolically, how do you represent it? Is in terms of a theta. So in between means what? You can compute the average time of an algorithm. So always you know what is an average. Basically, upper bound plus lower bound divided by 2, you get an average. So with respect to that, we compute the average time of an algorithm that it takes for the execution of a program. Basically, if I ask you the question, why do you use this asymptotic notation? So anyone can answer. Asymptotic notations are being used to identify the complexity of a program with respect to the time, basically. In fact, efficiency, how do you identify the efficiency of execution of a program? Efficiency of execution of program is always being calculated based on the complexity of time and the space. Time complexity means what? Time complexity represent how fast your program is going to execute, and space complexity is nothing but what is the space that your program is going to take with respect to your program, that is storage. So this theta and vigor, these are used to represent the time complexity. So theta notation C is, it is being used to represent in between, that is to calculate the average for a given function with theta g of n, right? So you could see the f of n falls in between one c of g n f and another c2 of g n f. In order to calculate this f of n, it should be in between the average. So the graphically you could represent the theta notation like this, right? In between c1 g of n and c2 g of n, we have this function f of n. So we have a three normals that has been drawn. So where it intersects, okay, with f of n, with f of n, any one of it. So f of n equals to c g of n. Okay. So you have a same function. So you need to identify theta notation. F of n is 2n plus 8. So what do you do? So given f of n is 2n plus 8, right? Okay. Reduce theta it equals to f of n. So first what you have to do, you need to identify this equation, all of it. C of g of n is less than equals to f of g of n and c2 g of n. So like this you have to identify. So this has been given f of n 2n plus 8 greater than 6n where n equals to greater than 2, f of n 2n plus 8 less than where n is greater than equals to 2. So you need to compute, right? I need to calculate the constant values c1 and c2, right? So I do suggest you to focus on these three asymptotic notation, and you need to explain the exam, explain the asymptotic notation. Coming to the topic now. So one more topic that is being left out, efficiency of algorithm has been covered. So what are the characteristics and representatives of an algorithm has been covered up. Now we were into the topic called types of data structures. So type of data structures, the way I have been covered, because we are going to all together, you know, throughout the syllabus, we are going to see this. Okay. That is types of arrays, linked list, tags, queues, trees, anyway. So anyway, since it is a part of the syllabus, if the question is being divided from this unit, half question from this and half question from this, so you may get explain any two of the data structures. So with that point of view, let me explain that. Okay, let me explain that. So array is one of the basic data structures, right? In that we have two, single dimensional, two dimensional. We have seen what is a single dimensional, and what are all the things that we are going to do with respect to the arrays. So how do you create an array, how do you insert, how do you, so once again I need to explain it while searching. Okay, now let me come here. Okay, types of data structures, let us try to finish today. With that, tomorrow we'll go for some sort of programming, and I need to explain even the pyramid program that belongs to the C recap 1 or C recap 2. So introductions, data structures, we have types of primitive, non-primitive. This has been explained clearly to you. What is linear and non-linear? In linear what comes, or in non-linear what you'll not come across, right? So once again, if you just want to see the diagram, you can see what is linear data structures and what is non-linear data structures. Okay, see here is a primitive and non-primitive. In primitive data structures, arrays, stacks, queues, links comes under linear data structure, whereas in the case of non-linear data structures, so only trees and graphs. The question, if you want to answer why is it that only the trees and graphs comes under non-linear data structures, because there is no consecutive linear arrangement as such, is as in arrays, stacks, queues, and linked list, right? So you could see now the same thing. So arrays, we have a non-primitive data structures, primitive. Under non-primitive we have linear and non-linear data structures are this: arrays, stacks, queues. Then graphs, and this one, what is that? Graphs and trees comes under non-linear data structures. Okay, they're not linear. Now first data structure is an array. You know what is an array? Array consists of array index, address. This I had explained. Coming to the concept of linked list. What is the linked list? Linked list is the data structure. It is used for sorting the data in the form of a list. Okay. In fact, it consists of multiple nodes. Okay. Linked list, basically it is being used to eliminate the one of the disadvantages associated with the array. That is, arrays doesn't use the memory perfectly. Remember, the arrays doesn't use the memory perfectly, so that is it uses inefficient utilization of the memory space. So with that point of view, what do we do is we do utilize the memory perfectly, so we use a linked list. So this is the way how we represent a linked list. Okay, so this is being connected node, the node connected to the next node. So we'll discuss this. So your answer for data structure is a non-primitive linear data structure. The main intention of using a data structure that is a linked list is to effective utilization of the memory that is not possible in an array. That if you write that much, that could be a good answer, right? See, in order to overcome the memory management, inefficient utilization of memory that is not being done in array, we use in linked list. Okay, so application of linked list, it is used in dynamic memory allocation. The meaning of dynamic memory allocation is at the runtime the memory is allocated at runtime, hence the fasterness of a program is quite easy. Okay, dynamic memory allocation. Coming to the next data structure, it is a stack. So we have a stack. Stack is also linear. Stack is also one of the primitive linear data structure. Okay, non-primitive linear data structure. So we have a structure of a stack. Stack follows last in first out. Okay, so you have to remember last in first out. What is the meaning of last in first out? So the person who enters last, he will get out of the stack first. Okay, so that is the last added to the stack is one that is first removed from the stack. Same, the last person, last element that enters first is going to be eliminated first from the stack. So what do we have is, so we have application of the stack. So application of the stack. you could see this is the top. The elements of the stacks are moved over here. This is called the top. So as of now, you don't have to concentrate more. Just for the theoretical point of view, you just have to represent stack follows last in first out. The it has an index same as if like a array called top. Application of a stacks. So it is being used in implementation of system processes such as compilation and program control. Whereas the data structures for dynamic memory allocation, theoretically you should go ahead, right? Similarly, the concept of a queues, how does the queues represent? So last in first out is a stack. Okay, first in first out is a queue means the person enters first, he'll get it. Is same as if like a queue when you go for a railway station to purchase a ticket. So you have to stand in a queue, so the person who enters first into the queue, he will come out of the queue first. So in that sense, the queue is being represented. Okay, just go through it. We will not waste the more time on the theoretical part. So application is used in implementation of key system processes. So till here it is for a non-linear, non-primitive linear data structure. Now coming to the concept of non-primitive, that is non-linear data structures, that is trees. So trees are represented like this. So it has got the branches of a tree, node A, B, C, D, E. So there is no concept that from A whether I should go to the B left branch or a right branch, or again from B again there is a. So in such cases it is called non-linear. There is no proper. Whereas if you could see the above data structure, there is a continuity. There is a continuity in the queue. There is a continuity in the stack. That is first in, last out, right? So last in, so first out. So the person enters last, 16 last. He will come out of the uh, uh, stack first. Okay. Actually, top will be here. So if you have people, those who have not understood, just for the time, the top will be here. So first you insert 8 will be inserted, then again 2 will be inserted, 4 will be inserted, top goes on growing, 99 will be inserted, 4 will be inserted, 16 will be inserted, the top will come up. So now I have to eliminate. The last in is 16, 16 will be eliminated, then 4 will be eliminated as such. So this is there one of the way of linear propagation is here, is available in queues also. Whereas in the case of trees, there is no linear propagation, that is either to left or right, there is a confusion. So hence tree is a link like data structures. So each node comprises of 0 or more child nodes. Okay, 0 means, for example, it doesn't D, it doesn't have 0. The available nodes are 0 over here. So the basic applications of a trees. So it is being used for sorting hierarchical data. So in fact, I have a separate PPTs to show you what exactly the trees and all those things does. Thing is that uh, as of now, I'm just concentrating in the basic part of it. So let me not confuse you. Okay, let me not confuse you with the concepts of trees or any other data structures. So we have stacks, all these things, linear search, what is being done, all these things. So whenever it is needed, let me focus on that. Okay. So this is in fact not module 2. So we have tree C. These terminologies are all available. So how does, so when it is needed, if I go with that, you will have a lot of confusion. So with that intention, I'm not going for it. Okay, graphs again. Graph is also an example of linked data structures. So here also there is a lot of, see if you could see, there is no propagation of the concept of linearity. Okay, so the applications of a graph is in the modeling of the networking system. Basically, see, the applications of a graph are based into the applications of networking system. That is, you need to calculate the cost transmitting data from one network path to another network path. In that case, we use the concepts of a graph. Okay, again, it is a data structures that comprises of group, and it is a non-linear. It is also having a nodes and a group of edges. So the question could be, list the various data structures and explain. This could be the question. List the various, explain the classifications of data structures and explain non-primitive data structures. Explain all non-primitive data structures. At that time, you should be able to explain, or like explain specifically any two data structures, right? That could be a question, right? In brief, you have to explain. So first is, why do we use, what sort of data structure it is, and what is the concept it follows, what is this is important, logical diagram is important, and the application of a stack. Similarly, if it is a data structures are again a linear, non-primitive linear data structures. So it helps. Why do you use a linked list? So linked list to overcome the problem of array. What is the problem of array? The problem of array is mismanagement with the memory. Okay. So memory cannot be managed properly. That is inefficient utilization of a memory. So in order to efficiently use the memory, we use a linked list. Okay. And what is the application in dynamic memory allocation? See, all these points you need to highlight and you should remember. So that is, at the runtime, memory is being utilized in the case of a linked list. Hence, the performance is faster. Whereas in the case of arrays, there is no dynamic memory allocation. That is without pointer when you're using it. And there is inefficient utilization of the memory. It is also data structure, right? So if you remember in that logically, you find it easy. Stack falls last in, first out. So it is used in the implementation of system processes. That is to control the compilation of program. Queues, again, it is a linear. Applications are CPU scheduling and resource sharing. Again, trees, it is used to storing the hierarchical data, which is a major hierarchy in one of the order. Application. Graph, the applications of graphs in the case of networking to calculate the cost of the transmitting data. So all these things, if you use a highlighter and highlight it and remember, you find it easy. Okay, so that is regarding algorithm, asymptotic notation. So we have introduction, we have types of data structures. So now left with the concept of arrays. Arrays, in that concept, what we have done, now we are going with the PPT. What is that? Arrays. Okay, so what could be done with the concept of arrays? So single dimensional array we have seen, arrays. So in the single dimensional array, how the array is represented, that we have seen. Upper bound, lower bound. So what are the things that you could do? Creation, traversal. Traversal means you have to retrieve, fetch the data that is being stored in an array. Search, insertion, deletion, sorting, merging. These are the things that we can do using an array. So we have a algorithm for traversal of array. Okay, how do you traverse an array? How do you traverse an array? Traversal of array means what? So that we have seen. See, these are the things: traversing, searching, inserting, deleting, sorting, and merging. These are the things that we are going to. So these are all the basic operations that we are going to see: traversing, searching, inserting, and deleting, all those things. So how do you measure the efficiency of our data structure? Efficiency is the efficiency of various data structures. So this is a list, the efficiency, how in the case of various operations. So just have to remember the uh, formulas. These are all with respect to the big O notations. Okay. So I request you to remember to one extent. In fact, we'll come across as we go ahead with the module. What is this efficiency? Now, Coming to the concept of, you have the questions here. So what is algorithm, complexity, asymptotic notations, data structures, characteristics, different types of data structures, explain any two non-primitive data structures. Okay, in that non-primitive, linear, non-linear has not mentioned, it could be anything. What is a tree, why it is used? Okay, what is the typical operation? So still here you have, and we have to start with arrays. So arrays, types of arrays, single dimensional. So we have started insertion deletion. So I am going to explain once again with this. Till here we'll have for internal. So I stress you, till here we will keep it for internal 4.6.2. Okay, so the basic idea of keeping this as you learn it. So we left with the 4 to 5 sessions prior to the IA. So what do we do is I'll go with the program, because with that will theory somehow you could be able to manage. So I'll go with the program tomorrow, one by one, at least bit of theory, when bit for the program we will go. Okay, so types of arrays, one dimensional and single dimensional, we have seen this, how arrays are going to work. So array traversal, I had explained. Array traversal means what? Write an algorithm for sequentially traverse an array. You have to fetch the data that is stored in an array. You have a data that is being stored, no? So imagine this is a data. You have a data that is being stored. So you have to fetch the data. What is the data of array of 0, 2, array of 1, it is 6, array of 2, 7. So this you have to, okay. So, so what do you do is, at which address we have this array traversal. So write an algorithm to sequentially traverse an array. So we have start, we have stop, set I equal to 0, initialize I equal to 0. So repeat steps 4 to 5 while I less than equal to size. So you do specify the size. So if you see the program, see here, you have already some data stored in an array of 0, array of 1, to what I had explained. So you have to fetch that data. How do you fetch that data? You call a traverse function. What is the traverse function? Just, that is, you print the array of 0, print of array 1. So print array of percentage d. Percentage d is nothing but I. This percentage d represents I. I'd explained once. With percentage d, array of 0 equals to one more percentage d. What is that? Array of 5, the element of array of 5. So that has to be represented. I'm just repeating this. I remember I completed this in the previous week. See, array of 0 is 1 equals to 2. This have to show. So this is the way how we do traverse from, that is traversing means fetching the data that is stored in an array. Okay. So next we have insertion and deletion. So I hope all of you have gone with this concept. So though I did quite fast in one of the class, this week itself, that is traversal array, single dimensional. It is a single dimensional. Once again I'm repeating, it is a single dimensional array traversal, single dimensional searching, okay, deleting and insertion. So traverse, it is not mandatory that you should go with a separate functions. Traversing using for loop, how do you fetch the data? See, this is already stored in the data. We are not storing it from the keyboard. The array is already being stored. So how do you, array of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, the maximum size of array is 5. Fetch the data of it. Okay. Hope all are able to understand today's class. So let me not continue today. So I'll just have one more discussions. Though I have forwarded a few of the question bank to you, uh, the question bank is quite complicated, which with this one. right? It is a complicated, it is for the external point of view. So I'll give one more prior to the internal, just 2 days or 3 days, I'll forward you one more document wherein you can go with a certain theoretical part and programming part of it, so that you find it easy, okay, for your internal. This is also prepared from by one of my friend, right? uh, okay, to an extent this also is also okay, but I suggest you, if you could see the questions from the book itself, then it is well and good, okay. So I request you to give the attendance, those who have not given in the chat session. S- s- See, we have here the concept of algorithm searching. This we have to complete insertion, and we have to compare deletion. We have completed this from an array, right? Sorting an element of an array. How do you sort? Then is a two-dimensional. Though I do, if I continue two-dimensional also, I may not keep it for first IA, so we'll keep it for second IA. Till here you will have what is a two-dimensional array, and how do you achieve the concepts of two-dimensional array. Okay, insertion deletion we have completed, the algorithm for insertion, algorithm for deletion. So do you have any doubts on this, the concepts of insertion and deletion of an array? Insertion and deletion. So first of all, you need to understand the logic. If you understand the logic of only this highlighted part, you'll understand what is insertion. See, always the concept of insertion, once again this is a repeated concept I am going to tell you. This is an initial array, so you need to insert at the end, there is no issues. If in between, if you want to insert, see, array into the index element a of 2, you have to insert 4. So at that time what happens, see, 4 has to be inserted at a of 2. In this case, if this is a initial array, this is a given array, so what is there in a of 2? A of 2, 5 is there. So what we have to do, we have to shift completely a of 5, no, shift it to the position of a of 3, shift 22 to the position of a of 4, shift 77 to the position of a of 5. Fine. So in that moment what happens, a new element a of 2 will be went with the 5 4. So this is what you have to shift the memory location. So this is what we do. This I have shown you. So once again, see here what we are going to do, start stop initialize size equals to 1. You are just incrementing the memory location. So instead of a of I plus 1, we will increase one of the memory location to the previous a of I. So that is what it is being done here. See, a of 2, what is a of 2? It is 4, no, previously, sorry, a of, what is a of 2? It is 5, no. Now a of 3 should be made 5. See, a of 3 should be made 5, and new memory inserted element will be inserted over here to the a of 2. Okay, so let me stop the session today. So as I said, you could discuss anything into the WhatsApp group, so in the DS data structure open elective group, and we'll go with a few of the programming concepts. So I have a plan to go with the two-dimensional by giving by taking 2 extra sessions on programming and few of the discussion on the important questions. Okay, let me stop the session today. Thank you.